Coming up today on That LTD Life, I'm testing out X Email Audit, an email deliverability tool designed to help you hit the inbox more frequently. This is not a sponsored video. I'm going to be giving you my honest thoughts about whether or not I think X Email Audit is a good value. Now, email deliverability is something that's a little bit tricky. Back in the good old days, it was simple. You just basically signed up for an email service and you were good to go. These days, it's a lot more complex than that. Not only do we have to authenticate and verify our domains, but it's kind of a moving target. Email deliverability is never really done. It's something you need to keep your eye on constantly. Sometimes you'll hit the inbox for Google, but you'll end up in the spam box for Microsoft, as I'm about to show you here in this example. So this is a real email audit that I did on X Email Audit. It's for a client, and before we send off their newsletter, I tried out X Email Audit, found out that they're hitting the inbox on 15 of the emails I sent to X Email Audit, but a whopping 6 of them are going to spam. And guess what? All 6 of them are from Microsoft properties. So Outlook, 100% of the time, we're hitting spam. Microsoft 365, 20% of the time, we're hitting spam. This needs to be fixed before we send it off to their entire list, because that could end up being hundreds, if not thousands, of spam emails. Now, X Email Audit is a lifetime deal right now, and I'm going to come back and explain the terms and what you get. But know that everything I'm going to show you right now, you're going to be able to do for one domain for 79 bucks. And then later on, we'll talk about multiple domains and some of the other tools that they have. But to me, the main thing, the main value proposition here is the email audits. So why don't I just go through the process of actually doing an email audit with you? So right here under email audit, just hit run audit test or run test audit. Then what it does is ask for a campaign name. So I'll just call this demo. That seems pretty generic. Then what I need to do is create my email. And the cool thing here is you can use any email provider. You could be doing cold email with this. Heck, I guess you could even use it on your personal or work email. But what I'm going to do is show it to you in the terms of like marketing emails. So you go ahead and you write your marketing email, your newsletter, your promotion, whatever you're sending off. And then in the subject line, you're just going to add this code in. Now, don't worry, this won't be visible to your main list. It's only for testing purposes. Once you know you're going to hit the inbox, then you can go ahead and just duplicate that same campaign and send it to your main list. So for a demonstration, I'm going to be utilizing a Mail. That's another AppSumo lifetime deal. I reviewed it a few weeks, maybe a few months back. I think it's still available on AppSumo. But the nice thing here is this is an agnostic tool. X Email Audit is agnostic. You could use this with Ghost, with Mautic, with Fluent CRM, with funnel kits, with anything you want. So you can utilize this tool. The principles I'm about to show you in a Mail are going to be exactly the same no matter what provider you're using. So the first thing you're going to do is set up a dedicated list, or it could be a tag, just basically a way to organize your contacts so that when you want to do an audit, it's very easy to do so. So I'm going to do this in a Mail with a list. So I'll go into lists and I'll choose new list. And I'll just call this one X Email Audit. And I'm going to set the default sender to be dave@serversavant.com. And it's English. All right, great. We'll hit create. And now I need to add my subscribers. So I'll click add subscribers. And in a Mail, I can actually just paste the text in. For a lot of other providers, they're going to require a CSV file. So if we go back over to X Email Audit, one thing I would love for them to do is have a little download link here so that you could actually download a CSV file. It's going to make it a lot easier to load this into most email providers because not everybody lets you just copy and paste a list in. But thankfully, a Mail does. So I'm going to copy the list here. I'll choose paste text, and I can just simply paste it in. Oh, but guess what? Only one per line. So I've got to actually reformat that. That's a perfect task for AI. Let me just power up Claude here. Quick little prompt, and we should have our results momentarily. There they are. I'm going to go ahead and just copy these. Back over in a Mail, I will paste them in all on their own line, and then I'll hit add. All right, we'll just finish this out by hitting next. And there we go. I've got my list all set up. Now we just go ahead and create our email as we normally would. So in a Mail, that's going to be, I'm going to go to campaigns here. I'll create a new campaign. I'll do a newsletter. Okay, so then on the next step, I'm gonna go ahead and just set up my email exactly like I normally would. I've given the campaign a name, I set up my sender email, and then I've got my subject line down here. Now, don't forget, we have to add in those special characters. Again, this will not go out to your main list, but for now, we need to go back over to X Email Audit, get our little code right here, and then paste that into our subject line. Okay, that's just gonna let X Email Audit know that, hey, these emails are meant to be read and kind of what test they're related to. All right, then for a combo mail, the next step is to choose my list. So I'll choose X Email Audit, and we'll go to the next step, which is to choose my campaign, or excuse me, my template. What does the email actually look like? I'll grab one of their nicely designed templates. How about, oh, I don't know, this one right here. Nice little marketing email. Looks like it's for shoes. And I'll just call this X Email Demo and hit continue. And here we go. I've got my email. Of course, I could edit it as needed, but I really just want to test this out and find out how well it's doing. Now, before I actually fire this off, I'm going to run it through Mail Tester, a tool that I use all the time, a very common and popular email deliverability tool. It's just mail-tester.com. What it does is gives you an email address. You copy this, and then you can send your test email here, which is what I'm going to do in a combo mail. So I'll just paste this in and I'll hit send. And then it's going to analyze your email and check for any issues that could affect deliverability. So my point of doing this is to show you that we might get a really good score on Mail Tester and then still not hit the inbox when we actually check out the real results. So we'll see what we get here in a moment. Now, Mail Tester is free, I think, for 3 uses per day. 10 out of 10. Yeah, so pretty good here. Yeah, so Mail Tester free for 3 uses per day, which if you're just doing this for your own business, that's probably going to be plenty. And you just check through things, see if there's any spam assassin issues like, spammy words, or you're on blacklists, have broken links, things like that. So yeah, this looks really nice. Should be able to hit the inbox fairly certainly over on a combo mail, or will we? I honestly don't know. Like, I'm going to find out. Okay, so just to confirm here, we've got our subject line with the special characters in it, and then we're sending it off to our X email list right here. I'm just gonna hit send campaign, and we're sending it right now. That's going out, and now I can jump back over to X email audit and view the report. So what it's gonna do is kind of just wait for those emails to go out and determine whether or not it hit the inbox on certain providers. You can see it's processing. We just hit 10%. This might take, I don't know, a minute or 2 total, and then we should get the results back. Now, while this is processing, I do want to point out that they do have an upsell. This is not part of the lifetime deal, and I know sometimes that can be irritating because, especially when they put it so prominently in the user interface, you kind of feel like you're missing out on something. So their upsell is called Spam Watch, and it's $39 per month per domain. So it's kind of spendy. What Spam Watch does is it lets you, this is particularly useful for people who do a lot of cold email, but it's not going to be very useful for like what I'm showing you right now. This type of email audit, I'd recommend doing once per quarter. That's probably plenty. Unless something springs up and you know that there's a real issue, doing it once every 3-4 months, you're going to be just fine with that. But with Spam Watch, what it's going to do is this type of testing on every single email that you send. You actually have to connect up your email address. You'll use BCC basically so that it can track every single email that goes out and find out if it hits the inbox. All right, so we're done here. We've got an inbox count of 12 and a spam count of 9. Keep in mind that we just got a 10 out of 10 over on Mail Tester, yet over inside of X Email Audit, we're hitting the spam box all over the place. 100% of Outlook emails going to spam. 3 out of 5 emails on Microsoft 360, and even a G Suite email is going to spam. So we definitely have some work to do in order to improve our domain reputation or just do some troubleshooting to figure out what's going on. It looks like there's actually a DMARC issue. We don't have DMARC set up for this domain, so that's a real problem. How did we get 10 out of 10 on Mail Tester without a proper DMARC record? So anyway, I just want to finish up here on SpamWatch. I got interrupted as the test results came in. Yeah, just ignore it. You probably don't need it. Don't worry about the $39. I wish it was maybe something that was like, tucked away a little bit less prominent in the UI. But overall, it's, the rest of the tool is well worth it. This is the main feature, by the way. This is kind of it. And it's just providing you some information so that you can take action. There are some other tools here. They're not available on every single AppSumo plan. And quite honestly, they're not really worth it, in my opinion. Like, all right, let's just jump over to the AppSumo plans and I'll show you what I mean. So under the plan details, 79 bucks is going to get you a single domain. And for what I just showed you, a manual test right here, we get unlimited manual tests. And that's awesome because you can do it once every 3 months. You're good to go. You can remove the domains and add a new one in as well. So if you do want to run it for clients, you can do that. And by the way, on the actual audit, you can share these. So let's go back into the audit I just ran. Yeah, so here's the audit we just ran. There is a share button right over here, as well as the ability to download it. So we can just click this. We get a share link where it's gonna, pop open. I'll do this in a private window. You can see we could send this off to a client. They could see exactly what's going on with their email account and how you're going to fix it. So unlimited audits for a single domain. And if you need more domains, you just upgrade to a higher tier level. Now, once you get to tier 2, you get all of these other tools here that for me, for the use case that I just showed you, not really necessary. In fact, many of these tools, you can find free versions of them by just searching in Google. Things like, I don't know, how about a spam checker? That's easily available. In fact, from one of X Email Audit's competitors, Glock Apps, they have a bunch of free tools here, like a spam checker, a domain checker. You can check all of your, authentication, things like that. But you don't need to spend a lot of money to find out if you've got spammy words in your email. So I would not upgrade from, say, tier 1 to tier 2 just to get those features, but I would do it if I wanted multiple domains for the email audits. Glock Apps, by the way, a very powerful suite of tools for email deliverability experts. It has a very similar tool to what I just showed you with X Email Audit. They call it their spam checker, and it's super expensive in comparison. So let's go to their pricing page just to kind of compare. We've got spam test credit packs over here. You can buy 3 tests for $17. And if you want to, buy in bulk, you don't really even save that much. It's 20 tests for $77 versus unlimited tests for $79 over on AppSumo. You really can't beat that. Now, there is some integrations, and you can also do things like automatic audits if you really want to. For that, you'll need a higher plan. But yeah, like I said, I really don't think it's all that worth it. The integrations are not very wide either. We get Instantly and Smart Lead. So this again is for the cold email people. If you're doing cold email, I could see the higher tier being more valuable. But for the rest of us that rely mostly on, newsletters and e-commerce marketing emails, well, these integrations not so attractive for me personally. The automatic test, by the way, is going to be the exact same test that I just showed you, except it'll be performed automatically. To do this, you run the test, add your sending account, so G Suite, Outlook, or SMTP, and then it's going to automatically run the test when you send out your email. It just basically takes away the part where you have to download the list, upload the list. You just write your email in here and then schedule it to run the audit. For me personally, I'd rather have complete control to know kind of where things are going. And besides, if you want to use this for marketing emails, you're going to want it to come from your email marketing provider, not your Gmail account or whatever you're using for your main email sending. When it comes to automatic testing from marketing platforms, the only one we haven't talked about is MailChimp. And personally, I don't use MailChimp. And I actually don't really know anyone that uses MailChimp anymore ever since Intuit bought them. It's just not as attractive. So yeah, I don't know. I'd prefer to just run everything manually. I'm okay with that. When you send from a domain, it's going to be added over here in your domains tab, and you can easily remove a domain. So here's the one we just sent from, Server Savant. I can go ahead and either verify this domain or delete it right here. You might be wondering, what is the verification going to give you? Well, this simply gives you a little line of code here that you can put in your DNS, and then it's going to tie it into Google Postmaster to help you understand your deliverability a little bit better. Now, there's no reason you couldn't use Google Postmaster directly on their site, but it is nice to have it bundled under one roof. So that is X Email Audit. Other than the questionable use of the X in the email icon, I don't know about that one, folks. And the kind of overzealous promoting of their Spam Watch add-on, I think it's a pretty cool tool. It's one that you might sleep on if you didn't really understand what it's going to do for you. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 8.6. I think most people should probably have this and just be running it a few times a year. And if you do that, 79 bucks is basically nothing. Think about it. How would you know if you were hitting 100% of the Microsoft accounts if you personally use Google? You just would never even know. You just assume everyone was getting your emails. To find out that information can be very, very valuable. So if you found this video to be helpful, you want to grab a copy of X Email Audit or anything else over on AppSumo, you can support this content by clicking my link in the description. By the way, if you have any questions about email deliverability or this tool or anything else that's on AppSumo, definitely drop me a line down below. I'm going to be ramping up production on this channel very quickly, so let me know what tools you want to see reviewed next. Until then, thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this content, get subscribed if you're new around here, and I'll see you in the next review.